Okay, let's call to order this meeting of the Douglas Library of Hebron Strategic Planning Update Committee. It's Monday, March 14th at 5:33. So we can jump right into the secretary report. So I think first thing to, oh, Donna, yes, you're muted.
Okay, just before we do that, if we could quickly introduce ourselves, because we have Catherine Brinkman here today, our new board clerk, and this is her very first meeting with the town. So just so she knows who's here. And so I'm Donna Lanza. I'm Director of Administrative Services, and I work for the town of Hebron. I am a member on the Strategic Planning Committee. Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
I'm Kevin Sullivan. I'm the director of the library here. And I am also a member of the Strategic Planning Committee.
Hello.
I'm Gail Richmond. I'm on the Strategic Planning. I'm on the Board of Trustees, and I'm also Vice Chair of the Board of Selectmen. And welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I'm Brenda Kelleher. I'm a friend of the Douglas Library and on the strategic planning as well.
And so there's also 3 more members of this committee not present tonight. We have Peter Casarella, who's also a member of the Board of Trustees. He's our vice chair there. Pat Ayers is our vice chair, our chair of the Library Board of Trustees. And then Emily Sir is a member of the public. And yeah, she will be here a little bit later, most likely. So welcome. We look forward to working with you. Thanks, Donna.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's take a look at the minutes from the February 14th meeting. If everybody had a chance to review them. I don't know if anybody has any corrections or anything they'd like to make.
Kevin, they look good to me. I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
Sounds good. Do you have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Donna Lanza.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. Okay, great. Motion passes. So then we move into old business. We have the mission and vision statement, which we can leave on the table for now. The next thing is the focus group. So I thought we would just review the focus group a little bit. We had that 2 weeks ago now, and thought it was very successful, virtual on the 28th of February. We had 10 or so people there, plus myself, Donna and Gail. And I thought we got some great feedback from the community members that came, and there were a couple of people that weren't in the community that came that just use our library. So that was nice to see. I don't know, has everybody had a chance to kind of take a look at the summary document I sent over or watch the video? I know Donna and Gail, you were there, so.
But I did go back and review it just to make sure I hadn't forgotten anything.
Well, I guess, are there any additions or anything since you were both there? Anything that I missed of note? No.
No.
I did watch it. I was impressed that many people showed up, and I thought they gave a lot of good insight. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
We were impressed too, because otherwise we were going to have to just talk to each other.
Yeah. So going through the list, it was a lot of the same stuff I think that we were kind of expecting to hear, although there was some new feedback too. I bolded some things at the bottom of each question that are potential goals we could add on to our current list of goals. A lot of them we actually already have in some form, so they might just need to be sharpened or specified a little bit better. So nothing after question 1, but after question 2, suggested goals are increase quantity of children's programs, reinstate technology assistance programs, and improve marketing of library services among all demographics. Any issue with adding those to the overall goals list? Okay. Question 3, the goals were standardized library hours during the week. What was suggested was 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and then expand Saturday hours to 5 p.m. And then the other goal was to increase adult programs that are held during the day. Any issue with adding those to the list? No. Okay. For number 4, we had a suggested goal of partner with schools to host events that will draw school-age children and their parents into the library, art shows, for example. For number 5, increase outdoor programming, especially for children, and make the outdoor space more conducive to programming and recreational use. We didn't have anything for question 6. But for question 7, improve signage in the lobby to make the library more welcoming, and increase the coverage of security cameras throughout the building.
Yeah.
And then for 8, we just had the hours come up a second time for that. A lot of hours discussion, as could be expected. Okay. So any additional goals, anything on top of the feedback that I pulled from it? Okay.
I think on the under number 4, we're talking about partnering with the schools to host events. And I don't know if we talked about it at that public meeting or not, but I think we've talked about trying to partner also with AHM, because they have especially their I don't know what they're doing right now with that teen center.
Yeah.
But if we're competing against them, it's probably not a good thing. So maybe we could coordinate with them and maybe share some of that programming. Because that's the group of kids that we really need to get at, is the kids coming from RAM.
Yeah, right, exactly. I know there's kind of a blanket partnership goal in the list right now, but I don't think it mentions
Yeah.
AHM specifically. I think that's, kind of the next step here is sharpening our goals a little bit, and then,
Okay.
deciding that we're done adding goals. So then we can kind of move on to the finalization step. So those are both good details to add in.
I think it's important, Kevin, because there's a limited pool of kids. And if a lot of them are going down to AHM, why don't we get our goals together rather than fracture the pool of kids? There's things that you can work on together, or an event that could take place at the library, something else at AHM. But it's not a huge pool like you would have in a bigger town. So we got to make it work between us.
Yeah, right. And there's no reason for us to succeed at the failure of AHM or vice versa, right? We're nonprofits with similar goals, so we should all be working pushing in the same direction. So, okay, I'm going to bring up the document that I've got with the goals. So I'm going to transition into new business then, into the review goals section. And we can add these ones to that sheet and get them underneath a column. And then we can work on wording if we want to adjust that a little bit. Let's share the screen. Okay. Okay, so you should be seeing a Word document here, same one that you've got in your packet. So we've got our 4 categories. We've got welcoming, integral. Well, let's just read the whole thing. The Douglas Library is a welcoming and inclusive environment in which to pursue lifelong learning. The Douglas Library is an integral part of the Hebron community. The Douglas Library is a safe environment in which to pursue lifelong learning. And the Douglas Library is a source of ever-evolving services, collections, and technologies. Okay, so let's take a look at the goals to add. So increase the quantity of children's programming. So under welcoming, number 4 here, we have increase the type, variety, and number of library programs. And then I've got here, including bringing children's programming into the evening and regular young adult programming. So let's just maybe include increasing the quantity of children's programming, comma, bringing children's programming into the evening, and increasing the quantity of regular young adult programs.
I'd like to see the regular young adult programming be its own item so it doesn't get lost in the children's programming.
You mean underneath the subheading of 4? Do you think that they should?
Yes, yeah, I think young adult programming should be its own, you know, if it's B or B becomes C, but I think it should stand on its own.
I agree.
Under four.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have C as adult, young adult, but I think I agree with Donna. The YA programs need to be separate.
Okay, so I've got A as children, and then B will be increase the number of regular young adult programs. And then C, secure funding to hire staff, is kind of like a how we accomplish B.
What does it mean under the B, the regular young adult? Like, what's the word regular there for?
Regularly occurring is what I mean. So as opposed to, well,
Do we
regular
need that
events that would
word?
happen like every month, this, you know, like
Oh.
and so something that would have, as well as special events. So I don't mean just kind of special events.
Okay, so then let's say regular and special.
Okay.
So that, because I really didn't know what that meant.
Fine. Yep.
Good.
Yeah, to me, when I see regular and special, all I think of is regular education and special ed, so.
I mean, if we're
Oh, so
covering
is
both-
there a better way? Should we word this differently, completely differently then?
well, we might
The
just
word
not need,
regular bothers me.
Yeah,
right.
Frequently scheduled or something. If you
what if
put
we
regularly
just say
scheduled,
increase young adult programming, increase young adult programming?
Yeah.
period,
That's fine.
yeah.
Here you go.
Okay, I'm gonna match that language with the children's, then increase children's programming. Not for programs for this age group in the evening. And then I'm gonna move C under B since that's where that falls. And at the same time, I'm just gonna make a bullet for adult programming because that's where this is going. And I know there was a mention later on about adding them during the day.
There was a mention of using the outside too, outside picnics
Right.
and
let's see. Part of that was under children's. It was like increase outdoor. Well, it's a kind of increase outdoor programming altogether, which is maybe more of its own goal, like just increase the use of the outdoor space with program underneath that. And of the 4 categories, I think welcoming might be the best thing for that too. Let's see. Outdoor space doesn't really make us more of an integral part of the community. Doesn't really make it a safe environment since we're not like increasing the safety so we can have programs. We're just using the space that exists. Ever evolving services, collections, or technologies.
Wouldn't it be part of welcoming? Because, hey, there's a party outside the library there in the center of town. It's, you know.
That's what I think. I think you can make a case for evolving, but I don't think we need to.
It kind of could go in a few different areas. So I think wherever we put it, it's.
Let's just.
I remember the fondest memory I have of visiting the library when I was a kid was, and we went to a branch library in New Britain, but we would go in through the library, we would go out the back door, follow the librarian out there, and we would go through like it. I felt like I was going into a secret garden, but we would go down behind this garage and there were, you know, flowers and gardens all around it. And we would all sit quietly on the ground and she would light a candle and ring her bell. And that was how the story time started. And it was just so, because we were completely surrounded. It was like we were hiding in a secret garden. And it was magical. And it was so nice to be outside. Just a really very cool memory.
Yeah, it sounds nice.
So on the welcoming number 4, I think it is B1, secure funding to hire staff to focus on programming. Do we need to secure funding, or is that something that we can absorb within our current staffing and budget? I'm just not sure about adding that secure funding.
Yeah, that's a potential way. That's a potential solution for a problem. We can do things within the current budget. We can do more if there's somebody dedicated to young adult programs. And I've thought about this a little bit, you know, maybe if the children's librarian were children/young adult as they are sometimes at other libraries, or if we were to have kind of a special programming assistant type position that would make somebody, you know, this is more what they do than just being behind the circulation desk. It's a possibility. I don't know that secure funding needs to be there. I think or at least, you know, either focus staff or devote staff time to young adult programming is what needs to happen. Get rid of that thing.
That's just me. If anybody else thinks it should stay, that's fine. I just don't know if it's necessary for that to happen.
Oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a strike through.
Would it make sense if you put the word dedicated in front of the word staff? Dedicated staff?
Yeah, or it's like the library has dedicated staff to focus on that programming. So let's go back and see that we get everything in from the round table, and then we can start sharpening these a little bit more. So we've got standardized library hours, I think. Oh, wait, no. Reinstate technology assistance programs. I know we've got something for that under evolving. Yeah, that's under narrow the digital divide in town, increase training classes, patrons. I think that one covers that. Improved marketing of library services among all demographics. I think we've got something for that too. They're integral. Ensure that library services are clearly communicated with the community. Increase the number of channels, quality and consistency of marketing content. Streamline the dissemination of marketing content. Lobby for more resources for marketing if necessary. Okay. The next one would be standardized library hours during the week. Let's just do a search for hours. Okay, standardize and if possible, expand the library's open hours. Let's just do.
Well, we are expanding them by standardizing them,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
well, you could standardize them, but still be open the same amount of hours every week. Like if we just opened at noon every day and then used those couple of hours to expand Fridays and Saturdays or something like that. But yeah, so we're trying to do both. We got that there. The next one is increased number of adult programs held during the day, which we already dealt with. So then we've got the partner with schools and the partner with AHM. Let's see. So these are a little bit fuzzy. Create 5 new partnerships with local organizations. Create and enact a plan to foster and deepen existing partnerships with local organizations. So these are both existing organizations. So we'll just add network.
I'd like to see us add the senior center there too.
Okay. Increase outdoor programming, especially for children, and make outdoor space more conducive to programming and recreational use. So we didn't really hit on that second one. Increase use of outdoor space. That can all fit under the same one. I don't think we need a separate bullet there. Okay. Improve signage in the lobby. I don't think we have any for that. That feels like somewhere between welcoming and safety. Put it under here for now. Okay. I think I might like that better under safety, but I'm going to leave it there for now. And that's it, because the last one's standardizing hours. Okay. Okay, so why don't we start going through these one by one? And we want to make sure that these are measurable and quantifiable so we can hold ourselves to them later. So let's start with number one in welcoming. Improve the representation of minority experiences throughout the collection by performing a diversity audit of the library's physical and digital collections and developing collection development strategies to improve the representation of minority experiences. I chose a tough one to start on. So to make this quantifiable, the creation of a collection development plan is something that's either done or not done. So that's quantifiable. Improve the representation of minority experiences is kind of squishy. Not knowing how we need to improve, it's tough to make a hard goal there. So I'm fine leaving that
You
as
would need to do the complete the audit first to know exactly what we have.
yeah,
bef-
right. Because we could be in good shape. You know, there's no reason to think necessarily that you know we're unbalanced, but we very well could be. So I think the audit and developing a policy or a strategy are good enough for me there. Because I don't think we can make, like, get within 3% of the, demographic balance of the state or whatever. Seems like too granular. Okay, so I'm fine with that one. Okay, number two, train all library staff to better respond to the needs and sensitivities of patrons.
Can we just go back? I'm sorry, Kevin, I should have asked this. For to complete the audit, is there any expense involved in doing that we don't have in our budgets?
It's staff time.
Okay.
So
a little bit at a time, your staff would be working on this?
Yeah, my thought is we would tackle it the same way we tackle inventory.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can probably do it as part of inventory one year, maybe even.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
But should be different bullets. So number 2, train all library staff to better respond to the needs and sensitivities of patrons and other staff members. So with physical and mental impairments, LGBTQ patrons, etc. I think here it might be nice just to put a number on it. You know, whether it's at least 1 training annually or something like that for each staff member. On this topic. So we do quarterly training sessions. I don't see why we couldn't fit this into one of those quarterly sessions just as something we deal with. Train all us to better respond to the needs and sensitivities of patrons and other staff members. Library staff.
Kevin, does the library coordinate with the other departments in town? Like, does town hall do something similar that they would coordinate the trainings together? Or do they?
Sometimes we do, but not, I would say not regularly,
Mhm.
but sometimes there are townwide trainings that would fall underneath this. Generally, I think it's going to be more departmental.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know whether we need to have this here or just, I'll leave it for now. Okay, standardize and if possible, expand the library's open hours. And so this is kind of a big one. We kind of do or we don't do, right? And this is definitely a budgetary ask. Possible expand the library's open hours. Any other thoughts on 3? I'm just going to move past that, I think. All right, increase the type, variety, and number of library programs. This one is kind of squishy as well. So increase children's programming and offer programs for this age group in the evening. So to make this measurable, we'd want to throw, a number or a percentage on there. So if we want to add 2 additional children's programs a month or something like that. That seems attainable and measurable. So I'm happy to start there. What do you think? Are you more comfortable as a percentage or are you more comfortable as a number?
I would prefer a number.
Okay.
Let's say at least 2. That way, if well, we're not limiting ourselves.
So at least one of these should be held. Okay, and at least 2 additional children's programs to the calendar each month. At least one of these new programs should be held after 5 p.m.
Okay,
Okay. So increase young adult programming. So my goal for young adult programming has been to have 1 program a week for them, which we've been able to accomplish for the past year because we happen to have an employee now who's happy to do it. I would feel comfortable with that level going forward. The problem is when that staff person leaves or changes availability, it kind of goes from every week to 0 very quickly. There's just not a big net for it. So that's why maybe staffing needs to be shifted around to make sure that that isn't just the pet project of a part-time person. So I'm gonna and then
Kevin, I'm looking at this list and I'm noticing we're mentioning children, young adults, and adults who want things during the day, but are we forgetting the people who, work during the day and want to go to something at night? I mean, I know with COVID, that kind of, no more speakers or anything, but are we,
you mean
Are they-
for which group?
just regular working, anyone who works, wants to go to something at night, an author speaking, or I know there was speakers on rock walls, or I know Colchester does a lady who does kind of a Marie Kondo kind of class about minimizing things, or anything.
Yeah, I don't
I just
think.
don't see the average person mentioned there, someone.
Yeah, I
So
would agree. I don't
all
think
about-
this is meant to take anything away from the evening programs. I think it's more of an addition, but we can specify to make sure that, adult programs are held at a variety of times, so everybody would have a chance to attend.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I'm just jumping back to B. Need something about focusing staff on well, Okay, I'm just gonna change this. The library has consistent dedicated staff. And that means that it's gonna be, that it's built in to our overarching plan. Which is what we're writing. Okay, increase adult programming. So I don't. I'm trying to think how much we want to increase adult programming. It's the programming we have the most of, and I know everybody always wants more. Why don't we put 2 in there a month as well, and we may come back and revisit that and decide it's not tenable. Okay. Feel decent enough about that. Make library services more accessible to patrons who cannot use the library building. Explore the possibility of offering curbside pickup and delivery of checked out items and increased digital services. Explore the possibility of offering curbside pickup.
So aren't we doing that with our lockers?
Kind of, sort of.
And did the delivery, are we no longer doing the delivery program?
We're doing it. There's not a lot of use of it. I think delivery of items there, I'm thinking more for like the regular patron to use. So our delivery program now is like homebound only.
Right, right.
Mhm.
So the idea of like breaking down, just making it more accessible if we were to.
Well, my personal opinion would be if somebody is not homebound, if they go to work and they go out, go shopping, even if they don't or can't go into the library, they can stop by the lockers and grab the materials. I don't know that we need to be delivering to people that are not homebound.
I agree. It is a service which requires staff time. And if you can go out and go grocery shop and go to the movies, the restaurant, we have the lockers now. That's what you should be doing, is picking up your own material. You can
I
order
guess
it
so.
and have it in the locker.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But there is a thing with your lockers. If somebody is able to get in their car and drive, they might not be able to easily get out of their car and go to the locker. So that might be something that a handicapped person could call and say, I'm going to be there at 10 after 10. Can someone bring my books out to my car? That to me is different.
Yes. And I think you're right. I think for the average person, curbside pickup is covered by the locker thing. And yeah, right now, I mean, we've done this occasionally. If somebody calls us and wants us to walk it out to them, we'll absolutely do that. But it's not something we've codified as a service or advertised as such. So maybe that's just, what we need to do there.
I think the services such as homebound delivery and that needs to be publicized in the senior center newsletter and in person down at the senior center, because there are some people who they're handicapped that get dropped off by the van because they can't drive themselves there. So that perhaps needs to be publicized down there
Okay.
I'll drag you down there with me on one of my liaison trips.
Yeah, I want to go. Last time I
Yeah.
asked to do a speaking engagement, I was told it wasn't the right time yet, so. I should
No,
ask
they
again.
just opened up the lunches, yeah. So,
So can
Okay.
we add to that item, can we add homebound delivery?
I think we should.
Well. Well, okay. So we're making library services more accessible to patrons who cannot use the library building. We already have homebound delivery. I mean, we can
Okay.
improve the service. I'm just wondering if we're writing a goal that we've already accomplished.
Okay, so then so
Mhm.
then do we leave this delivery there or do we take it out?
I'm not sure. Making services more accessible is something that's very important. I'm trying to think of, right, obviously we'll take out this language. We don't like that. So explore the possibility of offering curbside pickup.
So that curbside pickup is what you were talking about. If somebody cannot get
Yeah.
to the building or get to the lockers, we would run it out
Yeah.
to them. Curbside delivery, is that what? Or library curbside delivery, so they understand that it's not curbside delivery at their residence.
Yeah,
We need to make that clear.
Yeah. Come out to their curb. Where are you? It's for the possibility of offering library curbside delivery, increase digital services, and homebound, just improve homebound delivery service. But once again, these are a little bit soft, and I feel
Mhm.
that they could be sharpened a little bit.
Is it the volunteer that does the homebound delivery or is it library staff?
It's volunteer.
Okay,
Okay. Well, maybe we can come back and decide what we want to do here. If we need to sharpen it more. Because improving accessibility is just something you always want to do and you're always pushing forward on. So. Okay, let's see if we can get through these couple before 6:30 so we can get us out on time. Make the library a more physically welcoming and comfortable place to spend time. By replacing furniture with more comfortable seating and improving the cleanliness of the space.
well, you can definitely manage to measure A. How are we going to measure B? Do you have any dust bunnies in the corner?
I guess I measure it with how often I see dirt on the carpet that should have been vacuumed up. Improve the cleanliness of the space by, having a better relationship with our cleaning company, holding them more accountable. Yeah.
do they still have a checklist? We used to have a checklist of
Mhm.
specific tasks that they were to do in what intervals they were to do that.
Yeah,
And
they
maybe
have
that's
that.
how they do. And do we hold them to that?
Well, we need to figure that out. Actually, I just had a meeting with them to get
Okay,
started on this process, so.
good.
Um,
Now, one thing that we don't mention anywhere, and I'm not sure where we stand on it, is the young adult section. I know in our last strategic plan. We had talked about really having a more, I know we have a dedicated space now, but when we created that space, that was kind of going to be like the temporary or interim until we got to the more dedicated space. Are we satisfied with what we have, and is it adequate for what we need now?
I think under current circumstances, it's satisfactory.
Okay, good. I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure we didn't need to add it in here. So if it's good, and I think it is,
I
then
think if we get more
we're-
teen traffic, then we may need something dedicated down the line, but I think it's putting the cart before the horse to put it here. When they do come once in a while, there's a little bit of noise, but you know, they're next to the desk. We keep them in line, and they're, you know, it really hasn't been a problem. So it could be. It wouldn't, if it were, wouldn't that be a good problem to have? But yeah, I'm comfortable leaving that out.
Kevin, this is kind of, I was in the library the other day. I was talking to an older woman. She comes in, she reads the paper there often. And she was saying, boy, it's really cold in this front room. And I was kind of thinking that front room is very cold. And I don't know if that's like a window issue. It's an old building. That's the oldest part of the building. I don't know if that's, but it's less welcoming if it's cold in that room, the reading room, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would consider that maybe more of a safety than a welcoming, although it does fall under both. And it is something we're trying to address.
Okay.
It should have been addressed, but we're still in the process of working on it.
Okay.
So yeah, it is on our radar for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so number 6, I think, is okay. Examine existing policies for ways they can be made more equitable. Consider the creation of new policies specifically addressing equity. We need equity. Does this need to go under? Well, that's specifically a collection thing. So this is just about, I think, reviewing all of our policies with through an equity lens to see if there's anything that needs to be changed or updated. Which I think is an important thing to have on here and to keep our environment a welcoming environment for everybody. It's just, I'm going to examine policy manual. Yeah, I think this is mostly okay. So throughout the 5 years, we go through the policy manual with an eye for equity, and we determine whether or not we want to make any changes with that. Okay, number 8, increase use of outdoor space at the library by making outdoor space more conducive to programming, especially children's programming. So let's put a number on I mean, I'd like to see it more than one. So plan to hold at least one outdoor program each month from May to September. I'd like to see it more than that. I'd like to see it as like, this is our default for story time, or we have our book discussion outdoors. But I'm reluctant to put too hard of a number on it right now.
Kevin, what space do they use outside for children's programming?
Well, we don't do a lot of children's programming outside, really. We have two potential spots right straight out back, like the book discard bin is. We did the programs there last summer, and we have some tents that fit there nicely. And then additionally, there's the little kind of sitting garden in the, I don't know, kind of like top corner of the parking lot that has some benches and could potentially be used for a smaller group. It's just a little closer to the road, but I think it would be okay there. But that place needs to be cleaned up a little bit if it's going to be used for programming, because I know there's poison ivy that comes in there pretty regularly that would, especially if we're going to have kids there, needs to be gotten rid of.
The space behind the old town hall?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a really nice spot.
I agree.
I like the spot behind the library. My only concern with that is safety, and it's, you know, it's so close to the parking lot, and, you know, most people drive safely, but you have some people that fly through there. And it scares me what could possibly happen if a car loses control somehow. And I don't know if there's a way that we could put up some barriers to try to close off that space or make it a little bit safer around the parking lot areas. Or
Is
if we
there
could do
any space?
something
Oh, sorry.
between the library and the Legion, do something in the lawn between the library and the Legion where the gardens are.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The space more conducive to programming.
Is the plan for that property behind the new parking lot, you know, how it's all kind of wild, is that going to remain that way, or is that going to be more landscaped? Does anyone?
Well,
what
they're
the
going to build a
plan is?
bridge over the kind of river, kind of connecting over to, that's Pendleton.
Yeah,
So that's going to make it a little more walkable, but you know, the woods area back there, I believe, is going to stay woods.
okay. But I imagine the
Yeah.
bridge is where that dumpster is now, right? Is that where the bridge is going, or is it?
All over.
Yeah, kind of that area, but yeah, a little bit over.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess depending on what happens there, maybe there'll be a spot over there that's usable as well. I don't know if there'll be some benches and grass leading up to it. Okay. And then we got improved signage throughout the building, examined signage in the building with a fresh eye to improve patron experience.
Now, should we include and maybe you already took care of it, but one of the women mentioned that she can't read the hours from the parking lot when she drives up to know if the building is open or not.
Yeah.
Should we add that?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in.
And we have an open flag. Do we still put that out there?
No,
We used to have a flag that we would put out in front that said open.
Boy, I haven't seen that in ages, Donna.
I've
Hmm.
never
But,
seen that.
well, I know, but I just thought of it and maybe we should reinstate that. I feel like it used to hang, I don't know if it was on the sign or on the building.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that
No.
way we have a big open flag out in the front. People would know right away.
Yeah, I'll make a note of it. I'm not opposed to it. I think that's nice. And I don't think that's too much for the staff to do at opening. They'll forget it a few nights, but hopefully it sticks around overnight.
They'll get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they used to drag when we were just starting back from COVID, they dragged the A-frame sign in and out every day. And there were some grumbles about it, but it got done. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this again and maybe tighten up the language a little bit, but I've got the gist of some of these that I think are good. And, maybe we can pick this up next month and go through a few more of these. That was definitely
And
the
on the
largest one.
comment on the open flag, and I don't know where we would put it now, but when we used to do it, it was out in the front, so you could see it from 66.
From the road, yeah.
You didn't have to drive into the parking lot.
Hmm.
It was on the front of the building.
Yeah, I could see by the front sign, or I'm wondering if even right down the that kind of like ramp that heads out towards 66, if there would be a good spot, because that'd be an easy spot to put it up and take it down. Mark, we'll figure something out. I'll walk around and see where the pole is, or the holder. Okay, so since we're a little past 6:30, why don't we adjourn and then we continue working on this next month, and then once we get through this, we're on the other side of the hump, which should be on the downward slope with this. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, motion to
I'll
adjourn
second
by
that motion.
Gail and then seconded by Donna. The meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, no opposed, no abstentions. The meeting is adjourned at 6:36. All right, thanks very much.
Good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kevin. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
We go on to